Hey everybody, what's up? This is Keaton, and we're going to be playing some Blitz chess on chess.com today. We're going to go ahead and try and find something for the 10-minute reading range. I know generally people consider Blitz 5 minutes and those 5+5 games. I like the little extra in there that the 10 minutes provides with no increment. I think that's fun as well. Okay, so we got a queen's pawn opening, followed by moving the f pawn. As you guys know how I feel about the f pawn. It's the forget about it pawn. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's go ahead and put some pressure right here on that d4 opening pawn. It is protected by the queen. They go ahead and guard with the c pawn, kind of setting up what looks like could be a bit of a stone wall here. So maybe we try and break that up with e5 offering. And so they do have a bit of a stone wall look to their setup, thinking about just taking here. I know that they would take back with their f pawn. I'm going to first bring out this knight before I do that. And a good move here to kind of pin this knight to my king. I'm going to go ahead and just move out my bishop, and they go ahead and take. I'll take right back. I'm assuming that they're going to try and come here now because there's not protection on this square. Well, they don't decide to do that. Interesting. I think I'm actually considering, though, just taking here. This is somewhat of a bad pawn structure. We can leave with an isolated pawn unless they decide to take with the queen, which I don't know that that's necessarily the most advisable move. And that is what they're going to do. Okay. So the threats here with the queen are pretty limited. But they have done a good job of kind of blocking that dark score bishop out. I'm looking at the possibility of moving to the d4 square. This is protected twice, so I'm not worried about the queen being blocked in that protection. Let's go ahead and just move, to the d6 square for the dark score bishop. And so I like the way that we've developed. They've got 3 minor pieces to still develop yet. They're far away from castling, where I'm just 1 move away from castling. So all pretty good things in my opinion. They're not massively ahead time-wise. Probably a mistake here on my part. But one thing we can do to prevent them from taking, moving this queen here because it's attached to the king. So, and then I can take with this dark score bishop on the next move if I would like, because it will be protected. So, one thing to keep in mind when you're attacking with that e-pawn, I think something you could see is them go ahead and move with the f pawn again, giving more protection to this piece. Still doesn't change the fact, though, that they cannot move it without me moving my queen. And I've said before, I don't like lining up my queen and my king, and I don't. But there's no real threat of moving a rook in either direction to this file, so I feel a little more comfortable doing it. Oh, no. That was a pre-move. Let's go ahead and try and take that back. So they do go ahead and move that f4 pawn up. So I can't take here with this, and it does do a very good job of blocking in my dark score bishop. But again, they can't move that piece without me moving my queen. I'm thinking about a couple of moves here. I'm thinking flanking this knight out here, adding another protector to this square. And yeah, that's one. I'm also thinking maybe castling is just a responsible move here. And I do think that I'm kind of leaning towards that. But let's actually go ahead and move this here. Again, I don't see anything reasonable telling me that they're going to be able to move a rook to that e-file to make this an issue. And so I'm recording this on Tuesday evening and finding out that Gronk, as an American, this is American football news, Gronk is going to be playing for the New England Patriots. Very disappointing news. Very disappointing news. Especially as not a Patriots fan and not a Bucks fan. All right, so I'm thinking of taking with this. And no, I don't love doing that. Forcing them to take here. I guess they could take with their queen. That would be a bad move because I can take with my bishop. And yes, I am behind because of that, but I don't see a lot of other options. And I hate that that's just sitting there. It's not something I'm really looking for. So I'm trying to protect the piece to protect my overall position. And so let's go ahead and just take with the bishop. I could take with that queen. I just prefer not to take with the queen. This is also going to force their queen to move somewhere. Allow me to get the opportunity to castle here. I think one landing spot could be the g4 square for their queen, attacking my g7 square. But not a lot of other places that they can go. Not a lot of places on this fourth rank that they can go. Most likely going to have to move back in some way. So this also opens up my bishop to moving in better spots. And so, okay, so they do decide to move backwards here. I'm going to go ahead and just castle. They were putting some pressure on that square, but it was protected by my rook. So it wasn't something I was seriously worried about. Also, remember there is a discovered attack here on this e-file. So a thought might be to move this dark score bishop here and then maybe attack their dark score bishop. They are up one, so I'm less likely to trade material. Also thinking, actually with that in mind, maybe thinking, okay, so they make a very smart move, in my opinion, to move out of that. But, okay, so one thing to keep in mind, this is lined up. Is there any way to take advantage of that right now? It really doesn't look like there is. Yeah, I was looking at possibly coming here for that double attack on the king. I think they saw that and then maybe taking that rook. Also, this is lined up, but they can just take with their queen. So maybe we move this a pawn. And then try and get the light score bishop to b5. Yeah, so okay. So they missed this. They missed that this is lined up, and now they can't move their queen. Not really anything they can protect it with either. I guess they could move up here with their king, but then I can just move this back, cause even more issues, or move here. Yeah, so tough situation for white to be in. And this is why you develop your pieces, I think, because they are having all sorts of issues on this back rank now because of that. Okay, so they attack here with the dark score bishop. Okay, so do I take here first? Force them to move? Yeah, I think this is the idea. Move here, and then I can just easily move this dark score bishop back to protect. Okay. Maybe even take one more time and force them to take with their king, and then that discovered attack on the king. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. So take one more time and then move this guy back for that discovered attack on the king. Ah, and what I should have done is moved here to take this rook. Okay, that was a mistake on my part. It looks like. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Let's see. They're kind of all over the place here. Go ahead and put them in check one more time. My queen protected by this pawn. Really, the only place they can move is here. My thought is to come, here next, because this isn't threatening anything anymore. I do have a bit of time. I'm not overly worried on my time. So let's go ahead, put him in check. Maybe force him to come here, or just force him to another bad square way over there. Okay. So they decide to go to that bad square instead of giving up that piece. Let's see. Looking at 7th rank attacks here. But I think let's go ahead and centralize a bit. Or do I want to give? Yep. Maybe we should do that. Although I can move here too. Oh, and that's, I believe. Oh no, not mate. Okay. Nope, it's not mate. But somewhat of a compromising move to move that pawn. So do we just go here? And that'll do it. All right. So back on the right track here with a nice win in this Blitz game. Um, we won't spend a ton of time looking at this. I'm trying to go through, according to chess.com, 2 blunders, 1 mistake on my part, but I'm trying to go through and see what I can improve upon on my own without using the engine. It's advice that GMs give all the time. So it's definitely something that I'm working on. And I want to be able to recognize my own mistakes, my own flaws, and then go. I'm not saying don't check your engine, but I think it's good to be able to recognize, hey, I'm making a mistake here for yourself. It's just kind of thinking for yourself. Um, so a bit of an odd opening here, moving this F pawn early. I've said it before. I hate when people move that F pawn early. I think it just is a disastrous move overall. I tried to attack the center. They set up a nice little pawn wall here, but early on, I was kind of able to thwart it when they moved that B pawn up like this, creating an inside out pawn here. I never felt like that was an overly strong move. It did kind of box in my dark score bishop. And so, yeah, thankfully they did split my two, minor pieces here, which when you see that is a good move, but always think if you're on that E file, the possibility of moving the queen there to prevent them from taking was pretty solid. So I did that. They moved that F pawn up. And then I just kind of decided to take, even though it put me down a pawn, I thought that it put that their queen in a worse position, and it opened them up for some discovered attacks here. And so I was a fan of that. I was able to castle. They were able to get out of that discovered attack. And then they didn't see, this is where they didn't see that my light score bishop was able to move into a position to skewer the king and the queen, which I was able to do. And then they attacked my queen, but there was no protection of their queen. So in all actuality, I was able to make some good decisions here. Now here, I believe after they take here, I think the better move would have been to go here. I think that's a blunder because not only is it a discovered attack on the king, it attacks this rook as well. I decided to play safe and move back here. And then I was able to kind of just put him in this compromising situation. Took me a minute, but then I finally found this move here, and the only combatant for that was right there, which led to mate on the next move. So I was able to find that mate eventually. Had control of this one fairly early on. Again, I was down early, but I never felt as though I was out of this game. And so I feel like I played pretty well. I think we'll go ahead and try and find one more game here. And yeah, let's go ahead and play one more game. Again, we're doing Blitz chess. Blitz chess on Tuesdays. And what was the other day that we were going to do Blitz? So I don't know. We were going to do Blitz a few days. Let's go ahead and try something new here. Let's try a Scandi. General line is to take here. 737, so a higher rated opponent. They're going to go ahead and protect with that F pawn. An interesting move. Not generally how you play against the Scandi. And I'm debating between moving this pawn all the way up to the e4 file. A little bit of uncharted territory for me here. Let's go ahead and bring out this knight. Maybe take here, take with my queen. So they attack that knight with the light score bishop. Does unprotect this piece. Then they line up right here protecting. Okay. Thinking about forking both the queen and the bishop here. I think that's a pretty good move. So that's why I like to bring this this bishop out against this, because it prevents that pin from staying on. Okay, so they take, puts me in check. Eventually they have to move this queen though. I do have the threat. Okay, they saw that threat of me forking the king and the rook. And let's go ahead and just retreat. One thing I did not see, though, and probably should have seen, is if they take here now, I cannot take back because this queen is here. Yep. Okay. Possibly thinking maybe moving here. Couple ways to attack the queen in this scenario. And possibly move them off this line. There's really no way for me to... I'm going to go ahead and move here. There's really no way for me to try and attack the king in this scenario. Right. I'd like to develop here, but I think what I'm going to do is just move my queen here. To protect my knight. Also keep the threat on this pawn. So if they move, I can take and still be attached to this knight. E6 should be my next move here. Okay, they move their d pawn. Bring this knight out to attack here. Maybe take with my queen. Also possibly take with my knight. Either one feels good. I don't like overloading though my queen, so maybe I move this c pawn first. Okay, that does weaken this square. Is there any way I can take here and overload this queen? Because it puts them in check. It does keep them on this, though, so I don't think there's any point in that. Let's go ahead and move that c-pawn. I do very much so want to get this e-pawn moved, but I don't mind taking away this side's front as much. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take. They can take here. Okay. So that's not good. That is not good at all. Yeah, if I take here, unfortunately, I am in a bad position because they can take and I can't take back. Can move out here. That's not going to work either, though. Yeah, and now it makes it very difficult for me to get this pawn moved. Doesn't allow them to move. It doesn't allow them to take here, though, so I guess that's a benefit, but a very, very slight one. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So they put my king in check, but I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah, I like this because I can bring this back. Also attacks here. So even if they move back here, I'm feeling pretty good about taking. One thing they could do is move up this pawn slightly to protect here. Yeah, I think that would be a better option for them because then I'd be trading for that, and that is what they end up doing. Okay. I don't like moving my F pawn, but I just don't see really any other choice in this situation. They can't take again because it would put them into check. I'm not super developed, but they've left these two knights back here, and they've put pawns on their normal squares where they would come out. Okay, so they do end up moving there. Do I take with the F pawn or yeah? Yeah, let's go ahead and take with the F pawn. They take with their pawn here. Oh, no, they're not going to. Okay. Yeah, they wanted to get out of that pin pretty badly, it looks like. Makes a lot of sense. If we end up taking here, they can take with tempo on our queen. And so I don't love that. I want to get this queen out of the way too. Very, very badly. I want to get this queen out of the way. Maybe we go ahead and move. We can't move that. I was thinking about moving my knight out here, but it's pinned to my. It's pinned. Okay. We're behind on time. Do we maybe push this pawn? Let's go ahead and push the pawn. And I think castling too might be out of the question at this point, just because both sides have kind of been really screwed up in terms of they've just been screwed up. There's just not a whole lot that you can do for the pawn structure here at this point. Okay, so they go ahead and move their knight here. It's still unprotected. I'm thinking about moving the queen here, attacking that knight, and still protecting my knight. The threats here, here, out here. Yeah, I think this kind of covers all of that. They can just kind of go back to one of their original squares. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And it'll allow me to move this pawn, although I have to be careful of this. I mean, my biggest concern with that would be my king can still take with the rook. My king can still take if the queen tries to attack. The light score bishop is gone too, so it makes it more difficult for them to like double up there. So they go ahead and protect this piece. All right. Do I move this pawn up here, attacking the knight and attacking here? Oh, maybe that's a good decision. I know that they can take, but then I can take right back. And again, I'm not feeling that this is a huge threat because they'd be losing their queen as a part of it. So my guess is they take here with their d-pawn. I take with my queen. Got to worry about them maneuvering that rook over. And I did not see that. Okay. So probably a pretty good move there. Looking at taking here, they take here, I take back. But I'm trying to see too the threats of this knight either coming in here, they could split the rook. And that's, let's go ahead actually and move this king here, protecting this C7 square, making that pin go away as well. Okay, they add a defender there, so that's smart. Still thinking I might take here. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't, I'm not really sure what else to do. One thing to keep in mind, they could take with their rook in this situation. Would look to move in here to attack Yeah, so they do that. Okay. Okay, so I can't move in here. I thought maybe I could. Can't do that. Really no more pressure on this square. Going here is an option. Yeah, going back here is protected by their queen. And yeah, there's just not very much time left. So, got to get going. Got to get on my horse here. They got plenty of time, so I got to make very quick decisions. Pre-move this. Attacking the queen and the knight. Now they're going to take their time, it looks like. Okay. Does open this up. That's going to be... They're going to... This is not going to go well for me because they can just take with the queen and... Oh, that'll be a mate. Yep. That'll be a mate once they... Oh, no! Oh, wow. They don't see it. They don't pay attention. They lose their queen. Holy smokes. What a turn of events. That was a mate. I mean, that was a mate if they do that right there. Okay. Let's just take here. They'll take here. Move here. Kind of protect this 7th rank. Thinking about moving here. Next. Okay, yep, I'm able to do that. And then get the check in. And then try and get it so they have to move back here. I mean, they can move a couple pieces here, so I'm not overly worried, but I'm going to pre-move that since I just don't have much time. Pre-moves are always a huge risk. I don't necessarily suggest it for people. Shoot. All right, I ran out on time. A lot of mistakes there, a lot of missed opportunities. I tried to play the Scandi, and it was probably a bad decision to do that just in general. Oh, well, that's okay. It was kind of fun to do. I'm going to go over this game, but you guys kind of know my process at this point, so I'm not going to go over it with you anymore. Make sure you are liking the videos, guys, subscribing, and commenting below. I love interacting with people. Eventually, we're going to get some people on that have friended me on chess.com here. And so I'm looking forward to that. I really am. And I don't have much of a social presence at this point. So I'm doing this mostly for fun, mostly to document my journey, keep myself accountable for, how I play and making sure that I'm doing the right things when I do play. So, I think that's good, and I'm happy about it so far. And so let's continue to grow together here in these weird quarantine times. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow when we play another game here of standard chess, and then Thursday we'll do puzzles to round out the week. You guys have a good one, and I will talk to you later.